of the time, I want to appeal to Kenyans.
Yeah.
How do you feel if someone in government pays you to go and disrupt women who lost their children during the Gen Z protest? How do you feel? Yourself, forget about the government.
Yeah.
Because even corruption cannot end if there's somebody giving and someone taking.
Yeah.
Prostitution cannot end if there's someone giving the service and someone paying for the service.
Yeah.
So forget about William Ruto because it's a lost case. For me, there's no discussing about this, but just ask yourself as a fellow Kenyan, are you patriotic to your country? I cannot be paid any amount of money to do anything to those women.
Yeah.
I also know that there's a lot of poverty that people are trying to look for means to an end. But let me tell you what, you might be thinking that by going there you get what you can eat today, but it's the wisdom of fools, because as you're picking money to do these things, you also have extended family. You have other members of the family whom this government is oppressing. Some people have lost jobs because of this government.
Yeah.
Should you just persevere? I call it a focused poverty. Sometimes you need to have a certain poverty so that you can get certain wealth. So if you just say no to this government, whereby no one will take money to do all those things they're asking people to do, which are unconstitutional, will thrive.
Yeah.
Rigging of election. William Ruto has never gone to a polling station to rig. But somebody is paid to rig. So can we just ourselves be patriotic? Alan, when I was doing my studies in Europe,
Yeah.
I came across something very interesting that, do you know in Europe you cannot photocopy a book like that? That if I give you, if you go to Europe and you want to photocopy more than 20 pages, you'll be told you cannot be allowed. Imagine if I'm running a photocopy shop and you come to photocopy a full book. If I I'll make money. But I'll tell you, no, we are not allowed to photocopy for you more than 20 pages.
Ethos.
Can you imagine ethos? So what are the ethos? What are the values that we have as Kenyans? How patriotic are you? How would you go disrupt these women? For me, we can do many things. What I'm seeing main focus there, I don't want to talk about this government.
Yeah.
Because the government has lost focus. But let's talk about us Kenyans. What becomes of us? How should we be paid to beat somebody? Someone is paid to shoot somebody. Someone is paid to kill somebody. Someone is paid to hide the truth. Someone is paid to... Do we love our country? If Ruto is this bad, if he's the only one who is bad, we start having Kenyans who put their country first and say, no, I won't do that. The Kenya National Human Rights Commission is one of the commissions protected by the Constitution of Kenya.
Yeah.
In fact, Alan, maybe just explain here, that standard article should have looked at it in a broader way. Because we find that we have three arms of government, the legislature, judiciary, and the executive. Then we saw that the legislature and the executive should check the excess, and the judiciary should check the excess of the executive. But that has failed. Then we went on now to form what is called the Chapter 15 of the Constitution, which has all independent commissions and institutions, where IPOA is, where IBC is.
Yeah.
Human Rights Commission is there. So these commissions should guard the sovereignty of the citizens, because the sovereignty of citizens should be guarded by Parliament, but Parliament has failed. So we gave another third layer of defense to the sovereign power in the Chapter 15 of the Constitution. Now, if the National Human Rights Commission can be invaded and people chased away even from addressing their issues, what's wrong? And lastly, Alan, maybe this is an emotional one. When I was in the Requiem Mass for Albert Ojwang, you know, men rarely cry. But when I heard what Albert Ojwang's mother said, I was sitting next to Justin Muturi in the Requiem Mass. He is a man, and he broke down. And he was like, wow, what that woman is saying is so painful. When he stood to speak, he even forgot about politics, just discussed about justice for that family. Albert, people are politicians, but sometimes it's good to stop being a politician and be a human being. Even if you have a political cause to do, you cannot have a mother who lost their children run again from where they were just issuing a statement to just express what they feel. What could that do to the president? They could not take his presidency, isn't it? What was he to gain from chasing them away? And the message is clear. Today, Kenyans, let us listen to the cry for a mother. I listened to Albert Ojwang's wife. I listened to Albert Ojwang's father. their message did not go with the emotions that the mother went to. And when I lost my mother, I realized how important a mother is. Alan, there's no one equal to a mother. Nobody. What a mother feels about a child cannot be compared to anybody else, even you are a father. So I'm asking the voice from those women. Let this sound of women reach the ears of the highest people in the authority, and let no one die today, Albert. I think we will really have something to celebrate Alan today. If no one dies today, whether it's police bullet or goons or anything, let us just make Saba Saba Day bloodless, because no one actually enjoys the blood of the children. And I also want to appeal to God today. You know, it's also good to pray, because the Israelites, God told them that your cry has reached my ears, and I'll give an answer. That God can also give an answer to these mothers who are asking, where is my son? Yeah. What happened to them? And then they are saying, we have seen the pain. Let no other woman shed tears like we have shedded tears. I think that's what we make of that article. That Kenyans forget about the government. Yeah. We always blame the government. But who is the government? The government sometimes is you. You'll be sent to go and do what should not be done. Please say no to wrong instructions. Yeah.
The Daily Nation. The Daily Nation are going front with the headline is Saba Saba test, and they are saying echoes from the past. 35 years since the inaugural Saba Saba pro-reform demos on July 7, 1990. The country continues to grapple with poor governance, corruption, abductions, extrajudicial killings, and other issues that have now coupled the Gen Zs were not yet born to pick up the mantle in the fight for good governance. The Daily Nation are covering this story on pages 2, 3, 4, and 5 of the Daily Nation this morning. Prof, without judging too much, I would expect that you are here in 1990.
Yes.
Paint a picture for us, 35 years down the line.
Well, I think 1990 I was too young to know too much, because I was roughly around 7 years. But nevertheless, I remember with some memories that life was bearable, because when I was in primary school, we bought bread at 5 shillings, a full loaf of bread. Yeah. Milk was cents. You could drink milk with cents. Yeah. And Alan, there were so many things we've lost. You could actually get milk and pay at the end of the month. Someone could give you their milk every day, then you pay at the end of the month.
The ethos we were talking about.
Yes. And people used to pay, and people used to give. Now those things cannot happen. If you look at how
these days you can even pay and not get the service.
Yes. Then also, if you compare the Saba Saba of 1990, remember Ouko died in 1990 also. Yeah. In February 16th. Yeah. 1990 was a year that people had lost a lot of hope. There was a lot of those killings as well. Yeah. But what was important, that people had ethos. What I mean by this is that nowadays everything is commercialized. Everything. Like even if you tell somebody, let us carry placard, they tell you, how much are you paying me to hold the placard? You understand? Yeah. But you see, during that time, people were supported for free. Now everything is highly commercialized. And people think more of personal interest. People have become more selfish than they were before. Yeah. At the same time, tribalism has become more important. If you look at the founders of Saba Saba, you could see people like Kubai, you could see Raila Odinga, you could see James Orengo, you could see Timothy Njoya, you could see Okulu. You could see the face of Kenya really fighting for something. Yeah. But now we are going for Saba Saba when you are being told that this is not our war. Some people are being told, the kitu ni ya wa Mount Kenya, civil. Yet we know very well the issues about human rights cuts through. Poverty that is eating people have not spared anybody. Unemployment has not spared anybody. Yeah. Healthcare challenges, no one actually is feeling well. Education, everybody is suffering. Infrastructural challenges, everyone is in trouble. National security, rule of law is affecting everybody. Human rights is overwhelmed. So I'm trying to say that I think there's more compelling reason for Saba Saba now than in 1990. But what is different here is that Saba Saba of 1990 were championed by politicians. Now it's being championed by the so-called Gen Z,
Yeah.
which is not just Gen Zs as the age, but actually Generation Z. If you talk about the millennials, you bring Gen X, you bring even Gen Alpha. Like my son is just 7 years old.
Yeah.
And he knows what one term is. He knows what new term is. He knows what no term is.
Yeah.
So we are realizing that whatever happened by then, it happened. But let me just draw a contrast here, Alan. What did Saba Saba people achieve? They achieved one thing.
Yeah.
They achieved multi-party system. So what they achieved secondly was about the new constitution. But then what multi-party system was supposed to bring is what we have not got. You know, they got multi-partyism for the sake of it.
Yeah.
It's as if multi-party system was for its own end. It was an end in itself.
Yeah.
But we wanted that multi-party was supposed to bring development. And that's why, Alan, forgive me to say, I believe that the Kenyan problem is economic, not political.
Yeah.
Because political problem has been solved by a multi-party system.
Absolutely.
You can win an election even in your village.
Yeah.
Even there's no need of depending too much in the national
parties,
government.
yes.
You can get even a governor in your county. Is he performing? Is he bringing development? They receive 10 billion shillings a year. What
are
is
they
the
doing
return
with
on
that money?
investment on
Yeah.
it? And Alan, take for example a county like Siaya or Kisumu, or let me just talk about Nyeri, because guys may think I'm against them from my home area. Talk about Nyeri. If Nyeri receives 10 billion shillings a year, since devolved system of government began, do you know that it's around 13 years now?
That's
Now,
130
that's
billion
130
Kenyan shillings.
billion. Could you think of a startup where you have 130 billion startup capital? Have you known any company that has had 130 billion as startup capital?
Never.
KCB, which is a bank, the core capital to begin KCB was 5 billion.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Safaricom was 3 billion. Isn't it?
Yeah.
You can mention them. Those are some of the largest corporations we have. Equity Bank now has expanded up to DRC Congo.
Yeah.
Beginning with 5 billion. So what are these governors doing that you receive 10 billion every day? You cannot even
Build a single hospital.
to offer sewer system,
Yeah.
no healthcare. Even just collecting garbage, you can't collect with all that money. So
Yeah.
we must realize that we are using what we get, because we are looking out for one position, presidency. But what are we doing with what we have?
Yeah.
Lastly, I tell you that the Kenyan Constitution 2010, which came from Saba Saba, borrowed heavily from the US Constitution.
System. Yeah.
That's why we are talking about the issue of the national government, and then we are talking about the county government. For the president of the US is the most powerful person, but actually he is just a symbol of unity. It's symbolic.
Yes.
The
Power
powerful
belongs
person.
to the governor. Yes.
So why is the governor more powerful? Is because the governors went and developed their counties. For example, you know, we see Nairobi to be very important to us, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Do you know how useless Washington, D.C. is?
Very useless.
What do you want from
Hence the
Indiana?
governor of California threatening the president that we will cut off the taxes that we are sending to the federal government.
Are you getting me?
Yes.
So when are we going to have the county government performing so much so that the presidency is not as powerful as it is? That every governor must come to State House and say, nimekuja kutafuta maendeleo. I want the county government really to do their work, because they can't do it. And you find, for example, you know, where the capital for the US is, which is Washington, people will be satisfied. That's why you find, if you go to the US, guys from the West, Northwest, isn't it?
Yeah.
They are happy where they are. People from California have no need to go to Washington, D.C. To do what? Life is much better in San Francisco, much than Washington, D.C. We want to start finding, for example, when life is so nice in Nyeri, that nobody wants to know about Nairobi. So that Nairobi will just be a capital city, but that's all. The other thing I want to go, before I finish the article on the main message on the Nation paper, I want to tell you, Alan, that people are accusing Gen Zs that they have no agenda, they just want to cause mayhem and trouble. No, we have a very common agenda. Our agenda is that just as our fathers asked for the multi-party system, and also asked for the constitution, for us we are asking for a transition government. We want a transition government because we have lost hope in the government. Why Ruto is suffering is that people, he says, derails the hope.
Just
Like
takes away the
when
hope.
people are suffering, then 1.2 billion